now we are going to see how some of the stories of Sri Sri Harichand Thakur's character, of his charisma, played out in society and how it affected others in the society. So this is a story of Chaitanya Bala. So Chaitanya Bala was a well-known person in the community. He had a command over a lot of people. He was extremely knowledgeable, he was extremely just, and he was extremely good at cooking. However, when Sri Sri Harichand Thakur came to visit a function that he was organizing, and he was handling the department of food, he observed that as soon as Sri Sri Harichand Thakur entered the function, all the women folk who have been cooking under his supervision almost flew out of the room, almost flew out of the kitchen, and they flung around Sri Sri Harichand Thakur and started dancing and singing with him. Angered by this, Chaitanya Bala, who wanted the women to be under his supervision, under his tutelage, under his commanding, was not very happy at this situation. So he tried to convince Sri Sri Harichand Thakur to stop the music, to stop the dancing, to stop the preaching, so that the women could come back and cook. But such was his charisma, such was his personality, such was his magnetic sort of identity, that even he fell flat. And he says, how is it possible that I, who have such command over the people, who have such speaking abilities, commanding abilities, and I, who am not fearful of speaking in front of even a lakh of people, am falling flat in front of Sri Sri Harichand Thakur? And it must be so that Sri Sri Harichand Thakur has some magical powers to attract. Otherwise, this is just not possible. This is just not humanly possible. Harichand Thakur seems to be very different from other religious godmen. He is not doing any tantras. He is not chanting any mantras, Sanskrit slokas, or anything like that. He is only with his followers. He is only chanting or praising the Lord, chanting the name of the Lord, and that's it. And it seems that it's the only thing that is doing is chanting the name of the Lord in deep love. It seems that the only personality trait that they carry with purity is the name of the Lord on their lips. Onno tantra mantra era bam pade thale. That means they are putting all the Hindu rituals aside, all the Hindu mantras aside, and just chanting the name of the Lord. Not only Sri Sri Harichand Thakur, but all his followers were doing the same. And any other mantras, any other sort of convoluted, complicated sort of mantras, they were considering, they were as if they were avoiding it so vigorously that as if they considered it as a sin. Chaitanya Bala says, Sri Harichand Thakur has been able to capture the entire congregation in his magic. পরগনা মধ্যে তুমি মহামান্যবান, কোটি জনে কথা মানে এমন সম্মান, ভক্তি শূন্য রসশূন্য ভাস অপভাস, তথাপি সবার মধ্যে পাও বড় যশ. So he says the entire district considers you to be a great person. Crores of people listen to your thoughts and hold you in a very high regard. ভক্তি শূন্য রসশূন্য ভাস অপভাস, তথাপি সবার মধ্যে পাও বড় যশ. So it seems that you are not saying anything very special. You are saying ordinary lines, right? You are not saying very complicated things. So yet in the congregation you are held at a very high esteem. So it does not seem that you are speaking in a very educated tone, right? So when a highly educated person speaks, he speaks in such complicated language that people may not even understand what he is saying, but they feel attracted towards him because think that this person knows way too much than I do, right? But it seems the other way around. Sri Sri Harichand Thakur is saying very simple things in a very simple manner, and yet it seems that people are equally respecting him and holding him to a very, very high standard. অপকথা কও তবু লোকে মানে কেন নিশ্চয়ই মোহিনী মন্ত্র তোমরাই জানো। So অপকথা means a falsehood, right? So now it has to be understood that Chaitanya Bala was from the Vaishnavite community, right? So his way or his religion was completely different from what Sri Sri Harichand Thakur was preaching, right? So he considered the Vaishnavite religion to be the then Vaishnavite religion to be superior and to be the only true religion with all its rituals, all its procedures, all its religious rites and customs and everything, right? It's a very, very complicated system that they had at that time. And so he says that what Harichand Thakur is doing, this is not religion, this is not my religion, this is not Vaishnavism. So he's saying this is falsehood, this is apokatha. But in spite of that, why are people listening to you? It must be that you know some magic, otherwise this is not possible. ক্রোধ ভরে তুমি কিছু বলিতে না দিলে বলিতে পারিবে কেন বলিতে না দিলে দূর হতে কত লোকে করে আস্ফালন আসিলে তোমার ঠাই না সরে বচন। So he's saying that a lot of people from distance comment on you, so they despise you, they say that this is not right, what you are doing is different from what we have done over centuries, right? So this is completely different, right? So they know from a distance that what you are doing is different from what is prevalent at that time. But when they come near you, they also not only are they unable to speak, but they themselves become a part of you. They themselves do what you do, and which they had sort of despised a moment ago, which they had hated a moment ago. They themselves start doing what you do, and they themselves become your follower. So with this context, with Chaitanya Bala despising Sri Sri Harichand Thakur as he was plundering sort of into his wealth of followers, it so happened that his nephew Hiraman fell into the illness of a very complicated fever. He developed a very complicated fever. For over 6 months he was suffering, and hundreds of treatments went into vain but could not cure him. So as days were progressing, he was becoming thin, he was becoming there were no sort of muscles left in his body, and it was all bare bones. He was suffering from acute anemia. He was losing weight day after day, and they thought that they had that is Chaitanya Bala thought that he had no chances of survival. But when Harichand Thakur came to his village, Hiraman, his nephew, Chaitanya Bala's nephew, he also forgot his uncle's teaching and became a follower of Sri Sri Harichand Thakur. And even after Sri Harichand Thakur left, he continued Sri Sri Harichand Thakur's philosophy, and he embraced Matua, the religion of Matua, in spite of the differences that Sri Sri Harichand Thakur had with his uncle Sri Chaitanya Bala. So Sri Chaitanya Bala, seeing his condition, he people brought in some of his followers, and he said, throw him to Orakandi, go and leave him in Orakandi. Orakandi village is where Harichand Thakur made his base, and he sort of used it as a epicenter to spread the Matua religion. If he wants to die, let him die there. He does not listen to anyone, he does not have any medicine, he does not do anything I ask him to do. What good is it to have him or to keep him in home in this condition? So there's a poem, Hori bole din rat kore sorashori baba jodi horichar thak sei bari. So he says that his nephew Hiraman, the whole day the only thing is chant Horibol and preach the teachings of Sri Sri Harichand Thakur and consider him as his father. So he says that if you consider him as his father, you go and stay with him. There's no point in staying with me. খুড়া জ্যাঠা ভাই বন্ধু কেহ কারো নয় দেখিও কোন বাবা এখনে কুলায়. So he says that uncle, aunt, friends, brothers mean nothing to this fellow, and so what you have to do is you take him to Orakandi and leave him there, and I will see what kind of father he gets there. So he is so boisterous in calling Sri Sri Harichand Thakur his father. Leave him there and I will see how good a father he gets. And if he has to die, then let him die there, and let the Matuas cry for him, because he thinks they are the Matuas are his family. We are no one. So take him to Sri Sri Harichand Thakur, and let's see how Sri Sri Harichand Thakur, whom he calls his father, is able to make him feel better. We heard the story of how Hiraman was brought into Sri Sri Harichand Thakur's aunt, and then we all know that Hiraman, Pagul Hiraman as he is called, became one of Sri Sri Harichand Thakur's greatest followers.